What's up, everybody? As you can see, we're here live inside an empty arena, getting ready for the Mavs to get started. So stay tuned. We'll take you guys to Mavs Media Day where you get a chance to see everything that's going on. Interviews with the new players, Elton Brand, of course, Dirk Nowitzki, talk about his offseason, his 4 weddings he had. So stay tuned. Your access is granted.
Can't put your arm on your side. Sorry. Sorry. One more.
Bring my real one. It's too
Pretty much positive about my game. Try to have a great day. Not really. At the end of the day, it's good basketball. It's what brings us all together. Come out here and have fun. Play some
Oh yeah, I know. I've always wanted to
games. Coming here to play, obviously.
OJ Mayo.
For this team. Talk about what you saw in that and just what impressed you about the guys you've been playing with.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was important to get film on each guy. Considering I'm only giving these guys the ball most of the time, and OJ's the type of guy that that can score at any time, and he can put the ball in the hoop at any will. And I think Dirk Nowitzki speaks for himself. For Dirk, I think it's just a matter of just playing off him. He's going to get the ball. Whether it's at the high post or the low post, but I think everybody has to. Be ready to play off him. And, Chris Kaman is another guy you can play off, too. He's such good skill in the post. I didn't know how good he was in the post until I actually played with him last week. He can do some damage down there, too. So, we have a lot of different weapons. And not just in the starting unit, but, off the bench, with, Delonte, Dante Jones, and the list goes on.
You obviously played against these guys, but was the motivation without all that film work to just make sure you put yourself in a different outlook at it from when you're playing with them?
Yeah, it's funny you said that. When you're playing against them, it's like, okay, you don't see as much as you are when you're on the team. Then when you're watching film, you're like, okay, he can do that. And, Dirk Nowitzki, just watching him in person, I can't remember last time I seen a nice 7-foot shooter that can just stroke the ball the way he does. And it's really going to make my job a lot easier coming off the pick and rolls. I got a chance to play with D. West, who was just a good pick and pop guy. And he's going to be something similar, but I think the difference between Dirk Nowitzki and him is that he can stretch the floor out a little bit more. So,
What have you learned about Dirk being around him? I know you haven't been around him a whole lot yet because he was gone, but just the time you've been around him?
Real good guy. He loves to work. I think that's important. Your best player has to love to work. It rubs off everybody. It becomes contagious. And I think that's how a team gets better. If your best player doesn't love to work, then I think your team is in for a long run. But he loves to work, and a bunch of guys probably like to follow him too.
So, I think starting training camp early, going to Europe, and kind of give a chance to gel and mesh. I think that'd be beneficial for us. But a lot of guys in one-year deals, I think they want to prove not only to the rest of the league, but to our team that they can play and they want to fit in. There are a lot of veteran guys. It's not. We have a good mix of young guys that are hungry, want to get better, but we also have some veteran guys that also want to win.
As far as Dirk, you've been around Dirk before, obviously. You played against him, and I know you haven't really played with him much except a couple pickup games. But what's your impression of him being around him?
Great guy. He has a lot of jokes. I didn't know he had so many jokes. I don't really like to get joked on, so make sure he stays away jokes from me, but he's funny. You know, he's a good guy to be around, good leader, and you can tell that already just being here a few weeks.
Do you feel like you have something to prove?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, being amnesty from the team and you know, getting in the playoffs, getting to the second round. You know, definitely want to prove a lot, but in the right way. You know, not individually. I'm at a point in my career. I'm not worried about the individual statuses. Helping the team win and win big. That's my goal. And just being a part of that.
Elton, you played a few years with Hangman with the Clippers. Tell us about him as a player and as a person. I understand he's kind of a little bit of an oddball.
Yeah, you know, Chris is a a great center in this league, scoring center. He block shots, big body, and you'll see he has a lot of moves. You give him space, he can really dominate a game down there in the post. Hits the mid-range jumper very well. He has quick feet, for a center, true 7-foot center. So he's definitely going to surprise people in that aspect. He can play. And he can still play.
Can he rebound?
Rebound pretty well, but hopefully these rebounds to me. When I'm out there, I can rebound. And then off the court, he's just a fun-loving guy. You know, he gets a bad rap, but he just likes to have fun. Good-natured, great teammate, good-hearted person.
You talked about the kind of rent a team aspect of this with all the guys with 1-year contracts. I would think the good part of that is that, like you said, you got a lot to prove, but you talked about also playing for the team, not yourself. Is that kind of a challenge for a team with that kind of makeup?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. You know, guys are thinking, okay, I need to audition, I need to show, but I don't think there's too many more teams with cap space than right here. So if you want to audition, play the right way, and that's fitting into the system and doing what ownership, management, and the coaching staff want. That's what I would think.
We got a lot of potential. We got some shot makers. We got some penetrators. We got for the first time somebody who can just drop the ball on the block and everybody else spaces out and I can space out for a little bit and not only get the ball every time. I think Elton's going to be great. Post defense, shot making from 15, 16 feet. Tricks looks like he's in great shape, stayed in shape all summer. So yeah, I think we're going to be good, and we're going to still be a tough team to beat. But where we're going to end up, I have no idea. I think that the West is stacked, especially on the top. So it's going to be tough to crack those top 2, 3 up there. But we're sure going to try.
How'd the conversation go when Jay Kidd called you and said, "Hey, don't"?
Well, he didn't call me. I had no reception in Africa where I was. So I only really checked my phone like once a day at night, and the day before he said he was coming, and I think that's what Mark was a little upset about. That he basically said he was coming back, and then a day later he said no, he wasn't coming. So yeah, it was frustrating. I told him we'd love to have you back, and we'd love to have you retire, but I mean, he's old enough, and he made a decision that he thought was best for him and his family. So obviously I respected that, and we move forward. I wish it well.
Derek, usually when you're competing for a championship, there's stability at some level as part of that. Obviously, with adding 8 new players, there's not a lot of stability from last year. What makes you optimistic about competing for a championship?
Yeah, I mean, winning the championship that year was kind of tough to bring the boys back. We had a bunch of guys that were free agents, and we decided to keep our salary cap open for the first time in my career here, and that's the route we took. And unfortunately, or whatever, last year we had some big fish available and we didn't get them. So you can do 2 things: blow the whole thing up and start over, or you're going to keep signing guys to shorter contracts and to stay a player in the free agent market the following year, and that's the route we took. And I still think for that we have a heck of a team for basically saying we still want to be a player next summer and still put a decent product out there. We're going to go out there and compete and see what happens.
Dirk, what's your anticipation and excitement level about getting to go to Germany and be there to train for a few days and play a game there?
Well, it's going to be a circus for me. I already know that. It's going to be a busy couple of days, but yeah, looking forward to it. I've been telling Cubes basically since we started these overseas trips we need to go, and he never wanted to do it. So I guess this year they forced him, and we're glad. But no, it should be great. I mean, the guys are going to see Germany a little bit. Berlin is a fun city. I think Barcelona is actually one of the best cities in Europe, so I think it's going to be a great trip. And obviously, for a week is a little tough. You know, you get over there, you're jet lagged, and you got to play twice, and you know, NBA cares, events, and interviews and stuff like that. So it's going to be a little hectic, but I think it's also going to be a great experience. And Barcelona better hook me up with some tickets to El Clasico on Sunday night, and then I think the trip will be great.
How long do you think that it'll take for the chemistry between yourself and Cameron to solidify?
Well, I played with Chris 2 summers already now, since he became a German citizen. He helped me come or reach my goal and be a part of the Olympic Games in 2008. So we played together that summer, and then we played together again 2011 after we won the championship. But yeah, he's a very good offensive player, and I think we play well off each other then, and I don't see any problems coming here in the future. You know, he can post, he can take a pop a little bit, so I think we can actually run some different sets for the fives and run some plays for the fives this year, and where that allows me to sit back a little bit or to spot up or do something else. So I think it's going to be great.
What was your reaction when Nash went to the Lakers, and what do you make of the talent they've assembled out there?
Well, it's on paper they're really, really good. I mean, they're like, if you look at their starting lineup, it's almost an all-star game starting lineup. So they're stacked, and yeah, they're going to be great. We'll see how they match together, and I think they're going to be tough to beat if they stay injury-free. You know, nobody knows how Todd White's feeling after his back surgery, but if they're all healthy, I think they're going to be a tough team, and they're definitely one of the favorites in a tough West. And, it was definitely weird to see Steve in the Phoenix uniform. It'll be even weirder now to see him in the Lakers jersey, but you know, they get used to it after a couple of games.